Welcome back to the Smugsy Show. I'm Smugsy, your host, identifying as the Barstool Cougar. Every Wednesday we meet here to talk about important things and important people. Good news, we achieved our goal of surpassing 300,000 views on YouTube. In fact, as of today, 311,339, but who's counting? So thank you for your ongoing support, and the feedback from last week's fanfiction was fabulous. So we're going to do it again this week. I'm going to read you a story, Smugsy classic, called How the Pervert Up the Street Left Smugsy Speechless for the First and Last Time. But first, the Smugsy Show is brought to you by Smugsiggies, sleek and elegant joint ciggies made with organic cannabis, rolled in all-natural, locally sourced papers. Look for Smugsiggies in the pretty indigo and marigold packs. Okay. Fan fiction is fun. It was on November 7th, 2019, when this chapter of the Smugsy saga was first published. Classic Smugsy. Some say it's essential to really understanding what motivates the protagonist of the Smugsy Show, aka yours truly. So, if you're sleepy, this is a bedtime story, or perhaps you're just looking for intellectual arousal. Either way, sit back and relax and enjoy the story. How the Pervert Up the Street Left Smugsy Speechless for the First and Last Time. An origin story based on a true story. It was second grade, and after school, Smugsy and her friend Christine loved to climb giant ash trees on the abandoned estate across the street from their neighborhood. It was spooky because the house had burned down. Some of the charred walls of the structure remained. Burnt mattresses with rusty coils springing out of them were in a heap. The ground was littered with scorched bric-a-brac amid vine-like weeds growing wild. The perfect spot for a human sacrifice, Smugsy thought. Smugsy and Christine sat high up in the trees after school and talked about stuff. They always endeavored to bring crackers. It was a nice way to spend the afternoon until the new weird family moved in up the hill from Smugsy's house. The older boy began riding his bike back and forth along the estate's driveway past where Smugsy and Christine went up in the trees to eat their crackers. The trees lined the driveway. The boy had no hands on his handlebars as he rode back and forth and sat up straight with an enormous, bulging, pinkish body part sticking straight out of the fly of his pants. At the time, there were no words in Smugsy or Christine's limited 8-year-old vocabulary to describe what they saw. It was a complete mystery. Boys are so weird, they said, and went back to talking and snacking. The boy became known as No Pants, and the only thing different about him was they didn't go to his house for trick-or-treating. The mystery of his hands was too scary. Other than that, No Pants, on his bike with his thing sticking out, became part of Smugsy's everyday life in the neighborhood. "Did you see No Pants' new bike?" she said to Christine. "Look, Smugsy, there he is again with that thing sticking out. Did you know his father is in a rock band?" They said, reaching for saltines. In those days, Smugsy and her friends roamed around and played outside all day until their parents let them back in the house. It was a jungle out there. To survive, they had to cope. No Pants began to fit in the neighborhood in a weird and sort of disturbing way. Smugsy didn't tell her parents or her teachers about No Pants' odd behavior because what could she say? There were no words at the time in her toolkit to use to describe what she thought she saw or how it made her feel. One day, No Pants and his family went away. Maybe they're gypsies, thought Smugsy. The neighborhood was still a jungle, but it felt a little safer to Smugsy and Christine. A few years later, under the covers, Smugsy read a collection of her older sister's romance novels, paperbacks, and learned a whole new language and way of life. Wow, she thought. Smugsy realized there was much more to the No Pants story, but she would never be able to write a romance novel about it because she didn't know enough words. It was that day Smugsy decided to learn to use as many words as possible, as often as possible. People like No Pants deserve a proper description, she thought. The lesson of No Pants was an important one for Smugsy in her formative years. Now she loves the power of words and the risk of using her voice. In fact, sometimes she won't shut up. But don't blame Smugsy Girl. Blame No Pants. The end. And that's it for this week's show. I hope you liked it. There's more classic Smugsy and all your favorite Smugsy show content in Smugsy Studio at syndicatemedia.net. That's syndicatemedia with a C.net. Follow me on Twitter at Smugsy Girl. And until next time, this is Smugsy Girl signing off. Take care.